Hi friends, welcome back to Calm in the Chaos Homeschool. If you're new here, my name is Davine and I homeschool 4 kids ages 11, 12, and 14. They are currently in 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th grade this year. So today I'm going to be sharing about what we have in our morning basket and how it's been going for us so far this year. I did create a video back in the summer showing my process and what I picked to put in my morning basket. So today's the day you're going to find out if what I picked worked and what we thought of what I picked so far. And did we switch out any components? Because we definitely did. Not a lot, but we did switch some things here and there. So if you're interested in seeing what's in our morning basket or hearing how everything is going for us so far, stick around. Today's video is a collaboration hosted by myself and Shauna from Homegrown Homeschool. We will have a playlist in the description box below where a bunch of moms will be sharing about their morning basket. They get to pick whatever they want to talk about as far as morning basket goes. So they might be picking a thematic morning basket or maybe be sharing what's in their morning basket or whatever they want to do about morning baskets. So if you're interested in that sort of content, do check out the playlist when you're done watching this video. Since this is a collaboration video, I very briefly want to tell you what our morning basket is to us. Different people do morning basket differently, and they even call morning basket different things, like maybe morning time or even group time or things like that. I just call it my morning basket, and what is included in my morning basket are things like Bible and then some other subjects that I sort of want to go through very lightly, not super intense, and it does not include our group subjects. I kind of separate that. And today's video is the beginning of my series as far as how everything is working for us in this first term. I like to break my homeschool up into 3 terms, so 3 12-week segments, and usually that is when I share how things are going with all of our stuff. So I'm gonna start with morning basket today. Next week will be how our group subjects are going. And then I'll be talking about my 5th and 6th graders independent work, and then my 7th and 8th graders independent work in the following week. So each week you should be getting a video like that. So if you're interested in reviews and things like that, and you want to see what we're using and hear about how our first term has gone with using the curriculum that I picked, you will want to like and subscribe and hit the bell notification so you're notified when future videos come up. Okay, so I'm going to start with what we do first thing every day when we do our morning basket. And this is something new for us, and I will say it is super motivating to my kids. So let me explain. We are doing our morning basket about an hour into our school day. We generally start school at 9, and I try to start my morning basket at 10. On many days, my kids are doing math during that first hour and then completing some other independent work as they can. And this item has been super motivating for them to work hard during that first hour because they just have been loving this segment so much. So my friend has been telling me about this for, I don't know, a year and a half or more now, and we finally decided to add it to our homeschool because we are studying more geography this year. And I thought it would be a good way to incorporate current events. So what we do at 10 every day in our homeschool is World Watch. It is a Christian news program for kids, and it's a 10-minute segment. It's very much like a news program. It is very well done. It will tell your kids the world news. So if you have like young kids, it's not graphic or anything, but they do actually talk about real events throughout the world. So your kids will get a good understanding of the things that are happening in the world. So my kids, like I said, they're 11 to 14. I think it is a perfect age to be introducing this. I would say 10, 11, 12, that age would be perfect for this show. And we have really been enjoying it. And so I reached out to World Watch to see if they could help me out and give you guys a good deal or something like that. And they gave me a code that you can use to get 3 months for free. So I'm going to link in the description box below a link to World Watch News. and just use my code, which is Calm in the Chaos, to get your first 3 months free. Definitely check it out if you haven't before. You get, I think anyways, you can get a free week to check it out. But we have really enjoyed it, and it has been really motivating for my kids because they really don't want to miss the World Watch news time. So they get more work done than they normally would if it wasn't something that they were so excited about watching. So that has been really good. It's good to know what's happening in the world. I am not a news watcher. I generally just figure that if something big is happening, someone in my world will tell me. But it's been kind of nice to kind of know what's happening in the world and be very just 10 minutes long and coming from a Christian perspective. Though I will say that I really do appreciate that their viewpoints are not very, they're not skewed one way or the other. They try to be very unbiased when they're presenting the news. They try to present the facts, and they will mention, you know, how God created the world and things like that, but they don't go and give you their political biases or anything like that. So I appreciate that they just present the news, the facts, without bias as much as possible, while still being a Christian company coming from a Christian perspective. So that has been really great, and I really appreciate that about this news show for kids. Okay, so I have my morning basket over here. I'm just gonna go through sort of like I usually do. I don't do it in any particular order. As I go, I will talk about what we might have had to switch or how we've been enjoying the things that are here. I will start with our morning Bible devotions. That has been going well. We are doing mostly sunlight readings. So we're reading through John. So we basically read a chapter in John. We are memorizing Psalms 91. So that's about 14 to 16 verses long. So we're taking our time learning that. We have a song that's on a CD that comes with our sunlight that we sing the song every day to memorize the verse. And then after that, we are rotating through 2 devotionals. So that is where our first change comes in. The first change of my morning basket, and I almost did it probably first day. So in prepping my morning basket time, I talked about using 3 resources. So I had these 3 resources here. I had the Children's Illustrated Bible. I had a Case for Creator, a Case for Christ, and Case for Faith for Kids book. And then I had Indescribable. And I was planning on going through the 3 of these. So each day just going through one of these and just kind of going in a rotation. When it came time to do this, I kind of had decided that I needed to do this now or I would never do it. And I decided to not use this illustrated Bible. Just because these are just stories from the Bible and we are currently just reading directly from the Bible. My kids are very familiar with Bible stories. They get it in Sunday school. We get it in our homeschool. So I just felt like it might be, just not what I wanted to spend my time on. And as I've become a more experienced homeschool mom, I have learned to listen to my instincts a bit more. And when my instincts kind of screamed at me and said, maybe not do that one, I decided to listen. So we dropped this right away. I didn't even read the first few pages. I might have opened it up to read it and then maybe closed it and just said, never mind, we're gonna do one of these too. So that is what we've been doing. We have been alternating days between Indescribable, and we read some of this several years back, and then I tabbed all the ones we haven't done. So we're doing all the ones on human anatomy and geology. And so that's what we're doing right now. And we are going through this. We actually just finished our first of the 3 books here. We just finished up A Case for Creator. I have been enjoying it. My kids have been enjoying it. It kind of spends a few chapters giving the evidence for why it'd be pretty crazy to believe that the world just happened. We go through astronomy and things like that and just talk about the Big Bang and how could the Big Bang have happened? How could things come out of nothing other than a creator created these things out of nothing, right? If there is something happening, there has to be a cause. So what was that cause? It couldn't just have been just nothing becoming something, right? So We went through that, and at the end it has several stories having kids in real life situations where they have friends who they're encountering, and maybe they have opportunities to share what they know about creation and how there must be a creator. So I'm looking forward to starting book 2 pretty soon, A Case for Christ. And so it looks like we're going through this at a pretty good pace. I will say that at this point, the filming of this, we are probably only 9 or 10 weeks into our school year, and usually I do my term reviews at 12. So we are a bit ahead on this. So we are probably going to be finished this before the end of the school year. So at that point, I will have to decide what I'm going to be putting in its place. This too, I don't know. It doesn't look like we have a ton left. There might be one more category I want to add. I would like to finish this book. So we might be coming up with some new things to come in our rotation towards the end of the year, which is why I do these videos, to share with you what we're doing as we're doing it. So that is what we're doing for our Bible time as a group. After that, we will usually go into our morning basket, and then towards the end of our morning basket, we will do our read aloud. But I just wanted to share what our read aloud has been so far during this period of time. We've actually had 2 read alouds. So the first one has been Caddy Woodlawn, and it was a bit of a slow start, I will say. We have definitely gotten more interested as we've gone along and learned the characters, and the stories start to build more on each other. The very beginning, it was a bit harder to get into, but we are enjoying it right now. We have about 2 chapters of that left. And another read aloud that we've been doing is this here. This is She Touched the World, Laura Bridgman, Deaf Blind Pioneer. And we have been reading this when we have our extra bonus student. So there is a 9-year-old joins us in our homeschool, sort of on random days. I kind of help babysit her when her mom is working. So I chose a read aloud that we could do while she's here. This has been maybe a little, I thought it might be fun for her, but it's been maybe a little harder for her than I was thinking it would be. But it just gives us something different to be doing while she's with us. So it basically talks about one of the teachers who found a blind and deaf girl, and he really thought she had potential to learn more than she was learning. And so he kind of took her under his wing, brought her to the school, and he found methods to help her learn. And she was very, very bright. A very, very bright girl, and so just kind of opened her world, right, for her to be able to communicate with others, and sort of led to some of the things that Anne Sullivan with Helen Keller learned, and how she worked with Helen Keller in the future. It is a biography about this Laura Bridgman, and it is very factual. It has firsthand things that she wrote in her journal and things like that. But it has been good. I would say definitely for my kids 11 and up, very suitable. And the 9-year-old has been fine with it. She doesn't seem to mind when I'm reading this. So those have been sort of the 2 read alouds that we have used throughout this term. All right, so next I'm just gonna go through what I have here. So the first, I have these little space holders here. This is the Pilgrim's Progress. And we are actually reading this, Dangerous Journey. We have gotten maybe a third of the way through. I think it'll probably take us a little more than half of the year to get through this. I don't read a lot when I do read it. And I do have a complaint about this version. I find it kind of hard when the characters are having a dialogue. I have a hard time knowing when one person stops and another person starts talking, because they just kind of have, they're just not very easily differentiated. So then when I'm reading, I'm like, is this all one character talking? Are these 2 people having a conversation? So it's okay. So we're reading it. It is a, easier version than the Pilgrim's Progress, but I am having a hard time reading it in a way that I feel like my kids are really getting what's happening, because I'm just struggling with especially the parts where people are talking. So if you have read this, I don't know, maybe I should look online and see if there's like a YouTube version where someone's reading it. Maybe they'll be better able to differentiate between the characters. So that I would say is going okay. I would not pick this version again personally if I wanted to do an easy reader version of the Pilgrim's Progress. Okay, my next placeholder here says picture study. So we are still working on Da Vinci. This might last us, I don't know. Usually it lasts us half of the year. We have not done this many times, so we'll see. It might be lasting us most of the year. So we're just going through Da Vinci, looking at pictures, talking about the pictures. It's just a simply Charlotte Mason portfolio. You're probably familiar with that if you've been around for a while. The next book I have here is Me and My Feelings. I also feel like we have not done a lot of this. It's maybe a third of the way through. It's okay. I mean, it's just basic social emotional things. It is not from a Christian background. I haven't seen anything questionable, but it definitely does not mention God and how he created our emotions and feelings. There was one by Grace Co. I think it's Grace Co. that we really enjoyed that was good for, like, I would say 8 years old, that talked about God and creating our feelings and things like that. So this is just a basic, I would say, secular kids guide to understanding and expressing themselves. Next is our placeholder for Word Up. I've talked about Word Up many, many times. We really enjoy it. It is lots of fun watching Dwayne, the character, play the different parts, the Latin teacher, the Greek teacher, and the show host. He makes jokes. It's a fun way to learn Latin and Greek roots. We do it probably every 2 weeks, and we just watch a 15 to 20 minute show and hopefully learn a few words. If you're interested in something like that, I would say it's very suitable for middle school and up. It's supposed to be for middle school. I would say a freshman in high school, no problem, definitely do it. We have done about 25 of the lessons. There's 30. You can buy them in chunks of 10. I will link that in the description box below if you want to check it out. Next, we have poetry. I have these placeholders because I have a bin here and not everything fits in my bin. So that fits in there, and then I stick them in the back here. So poetry, we are still enjoying this, A Child's Introduction to Poetry. We are about halfway through. I don't know, we'll see how far we get this year. I think we'll finish it this year, and we'll probably be starting a new one. So if you want to know what we do, you'll want to stick around. There is a CD that's missing. Not missing, we have it, and we do use the CD, and we have been just learning about different types of poems. So this one is, now we're starting to talk about different poets, famous poets. So we had John Milton, we did Shakespeare, and our next one is going to be William Blake. And before that, we learned about different types of poems. So it's been a fun poetry book, I would say, for younger students who are just learning about poetry. It's fine with the kids, my kids' ages. So I don't know, around, I would say, appropriate, starting in 6 years old, 7 years old, 8 years old. Yeah. Okay, so next I have a change. So this is something that I changed right when we got started. So initially I had this book in my morning basket. It's the Book of Virtues. We started it a long time ago. We got a little bit ways in it. There's nothing wrong with this book. We do enjoy it. The thing that happened was I found something that I have had for several years, and I had told myself, and I had told you in an organizing video when I found it, that if I don't use it this year, I just need to give up on using it. I'm not going to use it. And that is this here. So this is We Choose Virtues. It is something that I impulse bought several years ago. And it basically goes through different virtues, Christian virtues. And these are the little posters for it. And we're working on this one right now. I am honest, and it talks about what it is. So I think the truth, I speak the truth, I live the truth. And then it tells about what it isn't. I'm not a liar, a thief, or a cheat, and I don't manipulate the truth to get my way. And then on the back, they have things like, it says, define, discern, dream, detect, and do it. On the back of every one, it has that. And so there are about 12 virtues that you go through in this. It's so I'm honest,
I'm helpful, I'm kind, I'm perseverant, I'm patient, I am gentle, I am self-controlled, I am content, I am obedient, I am attentive, I am forgiving, and that is that.
Title page, youth virtue cards. And the first one we did was I am diligent. Now, here's where I messed up in doing this. So when I grabbed that, it was a PDF, you get PDF downloads for the course and the instructions, and then you get this packet sent to you that has these posters, and then it has this poster that has all of the virtues on there. And so I was like, okay, I'm gonna do it. And I went full force. So I went ahead and I printed off for my kids. I made 4 of these binders. I printed like the PDF. So it starts out with a character assessment. So you assess where you're at as like 1 to 10 on these different characteristics. And then it has like some things like this where you can check off as you learn the different virtues. I printed off the posters for each kid so that they could have it in their binder, both sides. And then they have, let me find some blank ones. I don't want to show you her stuff, but then basically as you're going through these different sections, so the define, discern, dream, detect, and do it sections, there's work pages to go along with that. So you can do some research, you can find and explain what it means. You can memorize a verse from the Bible. You can read and explain a verse from the Bible. And then you copy down the catchphrase. So what is that character? And then what are antonyms to that characteristic? And then you have a place for your research and your writing stuff. So I went and I photocopied this much. And this much was intended to do half of the characteristics. I thought we'd probably get through about 6 of them this year, just at the rate that we go through. So I went and printed this times 4. And I did it a few times where I was having my kids write stuff down and I was just like, this is not how I want to do morning basket. I do not want my kids to have to be writing things down. I want it to be more of a discussion based. This is just becoming more and more painful, and then assigning them research and assigning them things to do. So that was a waste. I kept this, I got rid of all my other kids' already. Just kept this as a reminder. Be careful when you print things. Maybe print out a little less. I'm just one of those people who I just like to go all in. I don't like to just print a little bit at a time. If I decide I'm going to do something, I just want to get it done and just print it all off. And so sometimes that works out to my advantage and I don't have to print again for the whole year. And other times this is what happens and you end up throwing away paper and wasting your time, a lot of time really, and ink, of course. But if you have an Epson ink tank, you don't feel as bad because it is amazing. Small commercial for Epson ink tanks. I will list that in the description box below. I use my ink tank probably 1.5 years, and I, $30, $40, $50 to refill the ink for the whole, I print a ton, as you can see. So ink tank saved the day, but it did take me a lot of time to print up all that stuff. So just let that be a warning to you. Maybe don't go so wholeheartedly into printing as I do. So we are doing these instead of this at the moment. And I'm just going to take that out, put it on our shelf, and add it back in at some point when I need something else to fill out our morning basket. All right, next one, I have a placeholder for handicraft. We're not really doing a handicraft per se. We are doing chalk and charcoal drawing with Bestowing the Brush. It's a course I bought last year, and we just got through the brush drawing section, and she does have a charcoal and chalk drawing section, so we do that every other week or so. Have been enjoying that. I do recommend that course if you're looking for things to teach with how to use watercolors and then brush and then chalk and charcoal. So that's been fun. You've seen these a lot. These are the Good and the Beautiful's vintage drawing. We are doing levels 2 and 3 right now. Some of my kids are on level 3 and some of my kids are on level 2. So this is level 3. And I will generally have them do one of these every so often while I'm reading one of the books from here so they can draw and listen at the same time. So we have been reading this, Brave Heroes and Bold Defenders. These are all about men who have changed the world. It's just one page about each man. And my boys have really been enjoying this. One noticeably cheers every time when it's his turn because he does feel like a lot of our stuff can be directed towards girls, especially our fairy tales have been very girl-centric. So he has enjoyed this. There's a female version that we also have, but I chose to add this in right now just to balance it out a little bit and give the boys something that they can look forward to, and apparently that worked. Okay, so this is not something we have actually read yet. So this is a placeholder for our fairy tales section. So I have been reading this one, This is Forgotten Fairy Tales of Brave and Brilliant Girls. Like I was saying, this is what I was talking about. This book, I will not say I have loved the fairy tales. I feel like they're very formulaic. They're different. They're different from fairy tales you've heard before. They're definitely girl power, and I don't have a problem with that. I, growing up, was very much a girl who's like, girls can do anything. I don't know why that people say that girls are different and I can do what boys can do. And I felt like that anyways. And this is very much, I probably would have liked this as a girl growing up, but it is like there are hardly any male characters. And if there are, they're always they're helpers to the girls. So, I mean, I'm fine with that. I think girls are amazing and they can do lots of things, but I feel like just having a whole book that's all focused on that, I guess if you just have daughters, it'd be fine. So it's okay. Nobody complains when we're reading it, but it hasn't been my favorite of the Usborne books. And we are about halfway through. And now in geography, we are starting our world geography and we are going into Russia. So I picked this up from the library, Russian Tales, and I was considering reading some of this, but I'm not sure if I will be reading from this or I might be doing something else. I will be talking more about what I'm doing for Russia in a video that I'm not sure is going to go before or after this one very shortly. So stick around if you want to hear a bunch of recommendations about Russian folklore, fairy tales, picture books, chapter books, novels, and informational books. I either have a video up that I just made about that or one is coming shortly. So I'll talk more about what we'll be doing in our morning basket as far as that goes for while we're studying Russia. Next, we have Mad Libs. I'm not sure where I got this one from. It's Winter Games Mad Libs. We just do it usually about one every few weeks. It's just a fun thing to have in our rotation. Okay, so some people have asked me to talk a bit about this a bit more when we've done a little bit more. So this is the Tuttle Twins Guide to Logical Fallacies. There's a 4-book set. We're focusing on some logic this year. And I would say this would be appropriate for middle school and up. So far, it's been okay. I have felt like it's not always 100% keeping my kids' attention. So it'll have something like this, and then it has a few pages talking about that logical fallacy. They do give some good examples on maybe what that might look like in real life, and they give an example about Ethan and Emily's situation where this fallacy comes up. So I think it's just probably mostly my kids have a hard time. It's more content heavy, but there are stories, and I'm learning a little bit about logic, and we have not done that many. We've done 4 maybe at this point. So I would say stick around to keep hearing about how this goes throughout the years. But we did have some good discussions today, and it does bring up some modern day topics that I've been able to discuss with my kids. So yeah, I'm enjoying it. I will continue doing this in term 2. All right, so that comes sort of to the end of my morning basket rotation. After that, we have our language. So our language, we are doing Chinese, so Mandarin Chinese. I'm very much using the same resources I have used for over a year. We started using these resources last year, and I'm just continuing with the lesson plan that I created. I really do like these Chinese Made Easy for Kids books, but I do feel like you do need to know some Mandarin. I haven't been able to buy any with actual CDs. So you do have to kind of know Mandarin to teach it. So that's not super helpful to you, but we are continuing to enjoy our Mandarin Chinese lessons. We alternate that with Spanish. And so our Spanish this year has been Master Book Academy. It is an online video program, comes with printables, and there's a very energetic teacher who teaches the lesson. And that's what we've been doing every other day, or when our extra student 9-year-old is with us. We've been doing Spanish, and they really enjoy that. So here is a binder that I made for my kids with some of the printables. So it will start each lesson with a prayer in Spanish. So that she says this prayer every time you start a lesson. She does the lesson, and then we have printables. And yeah, I think the kids have really been enjoying this Spanish program. It's a really nice, light introduction to Spanish. So that is what is in my morning basket or morning cart for this term. overall, it's been going really well. I have enjoyed it. If you are new to morning baskets, I didn't say this at the beginning, we don't do all of these things every day. I might do so I will do our Bible, and then we'll do one or two, usually two, of the things that I said were called my morning basket. And then we follow that with our language, either Chinese or Spanish. And then if our 9-year-old's with us, we take a little outside break. If not, I just sort of tell my kids to go get a snack and I start our read aloud, and that moves into our group subjects. So morning basket itself takes maybe, it's probably about an hour total, and then we add in our group time, so that makes it about an hour and a half, hour and 45 total for all our group stuff together. And that is just what we really enjoy doing in our home. It works really well for us. I really enjoy learning with my kids, and we just get to learn a lot of different things together, and it's lots of fun. So this is definitely my favorite part of homeschooling, the whole doing stuff together, morning basket, group work, things like that. That's definitely my favorite part. So I would love to hear if you have morning baskets, or if you're considering a morning basket, or if you've researched for a morning basket. What are some of your resources that you would recommend? What are things that are working for you right now? What are some things that you are excited about trying out in your morning basket? I would love to hear that in the comment section below. Don't forget to check out the playlist to see what all the other moms are doing for their morning basket and what they have to talk about as far as morning basket goes at this point. Thank you so much for coming today, and I hope to see you all in my next video. Bye, everyone.